Hello, and the biggest of welcomes to This Woman's Work, a space where you can hear and read about some amazing women, the fantastic jobs they do, and the paths that have led them to where they are today. I'm here today with Emma. Hi, Emma.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me. Could you tell our lovely listener in your own words what it is you do?
Wow. So I work with individuals, mainly entrepreneurs, business owners, or people who are very high achieving in their professions. They seemingly have it all, but there is something that they want to break through. They often feel that there's something that either they've experienced or maybe from earlier in their life, or just something that they feel is holding them back from moving forward. And it may also be in their business that they've just come to a point and think, actually, I'm just really struggling to move to another level within the business. So we tend to have a conversation, and I help support them through that in multiple ways, through sort of business strategy, marketing strategy, to very much the mindset and the energetics of them and the business as well. So it's quite a holistic experience.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing this for?
Oh, more years than I probably realised. Yeah, so I have been, oh gosh, must be over 10 years, 12 years, maybe 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, trying to work back, about 15 years.
Gosh. Okay, so let's track all the way back then. So Emma, school, college, all very normal, anything?
Yeah, no, I did my A-levels, didn't do so well as I think parents probably wanted me to. But no, it was a kind of a strange phase for me. I didn't want to go to university.
Right.
It wasn't. I wanted to stay around where I was, and I was quite happy. But yeah, I went to university, and again I did HND, play it safe, and then did a degree.
Yeah.
Worked in London,
Yeah.
so a PR agency. But while I was there, I did my postgraduate diploma in marketing, the CIM, just to top it up and finish it up. So yeah, that's quite good.
Well, for someone that didn't want to go to university, you
finished
ended up
off.
doing loads of courses. Okay, so in London at a PR agency, and was PR what you initially wanted to do? Was that?
Yeah, I loved the whole making things come alive, like either through words, but also we did a lot of media events and exhibition work as well. So in the late 90s, into the millennium, it was quite a different time with technology as well. But it was we did like a fashion show on Carnaby Street, and it was, in those days it was quite cutting edge with what you had to play with.
So corporate PR and marketing for a number of years.
I was there for a few years, and then I got drawn to coming back to where I grew up, through some family events, and I reconnected with friends, and it was kind of like, actually I'd quite like to come back, and had my eye on a company which was EMAP at the time, and one of the ladies, the account managers at the PR agency, she'd got a connection at EMAP, and I knew some people that worked there anyway, but she was like trying to help me get my foot in the door with a CV. So we did that at first, but there was no roles at the time. But I decided I'd just hedge my bets and go back. Did a bit of temping, and then a temp job came up within EMAP, and that's how I got in.
Wow. And then, how long were you at EMAP for?
It was about just over 5 years.
Gosh, was that long?
Well, it was quite short.
I worked with Emma at the same time, so I'm thinking, God, I was thinking, how long were we there for?
Yeah, well, I got to nearly 5 years, and I just thought to myself, if I stay here any longer, I will be here for the rest of my life. And I really felt that. And it wasn't a bad thing, because, the connections I have through that were incredible, and I still have really good connections now. But I didn't enjoy being in a large building and environment, and I still don't. We all want to grow and move on. There wasn't anything available, so I applied elsewhere. But as a result, got offered another position, which was in event operations. And I love that because, again, it's that creative build and being involved in the commercial as well as the marketing and everything,
Yeah.
but not doing all of it.
Yeah.
So that was really good. But something in me just knew that it was time to head off, and I actually sold up everything I owned and went to live in Cyprus.
I remember this. And it was just, we were like, it's just so cool. Oh my gosh. Well, we were all still, you know, working for the man. You just buggered off, didn't you?
I did. I handed my notice in. I remember it because it was given back to me, and they went, think about it over the weekend. They went, I've been thinking about this for months. No, there you go. Yeah, so I went over with no job, tried it out for a few months, found my feet, decided this is exactly what I'm doing. And then I found a little job. It was like a little telemarketing job. And I thought, it'll cover my rent.
Yeah.
It'll give me a little bit to play with, but not a lot, but it'll be all right. Went for the interview. They said, oh, we'll let you know in a couple of days' time. They phoned me back 2 hours later, gave me the job.
You got the job.
And there was only me and one other lady. And to cut a very long story short, in that time I was there, I built a telemarketing department.
Wow.
From one of us to 12 and an administrator. I created all the training manuals. The role was to fill up accommodation, which we did very successfully. And then the company, it was a timeshare company, and it merged with a hotel resort developer. And they were about to pitch out to, because I was on the senior team, they were about to pitch out to a marketing agency to do the branding. I was a bit upset. So I went to the senior management team, the MDs, and said, I can do this. And they're like, can you? I was like, yeah, I can do this. So they sat and thought about it, and they still wanted the agency. And I said, well, you know, you're going to pay the agency a lot of thousands of pounds and euros, because they've changed over. I said, no, I'm already here in your team, and I can do it. So no, they gave it to me, and I had 18 months to brand 2 hotels, and that's where.
And so you left what you were doing and shifted all the way over onto them.
Yeah, so I was still in the same company, but just left. Somebody else took on the telemarketing team. I moved off and just focused purely on researching hotels and resorts across the world, like benchmarking what they're building. So and then I've just worked the branding through all the different, like the spa and the restaurants and the bar, and just worked with them all doing that. Yeah, we'd had some really good highs, and then my dad suddenly died. And that was it.
So how long had you been out there?
I've been there nearly 3 years in the company, and the hotel was about to open that summer, and I came home to visit him in February. Yeah, I flew in, got the train back up home, spoke to him on the phone because he lived in Derby, and then the following day got up, got dressed, getting ready to go and meet some friends, and I was having lunch with my mum and my granny, and then my sisters came to the doorstep about 10 o'clock and just went, we've got to go, Dad's been rushed to hospital. So it was just such a bizarre day, which I wrote about in my book in the end, because it was my transformation day, and I went from getting up, doing the normal things, to literally switching off my dad's life support by the end of the day.
Oh gosh.
And it was just like gone. Didn't even get a chance to speak to him because he was already in a coma. So it was just like, gone, that's it. Yeah. And so I said, when I was sat with him, if this is what life is, I'm changing mine. And when I got back there, I realised that whilst I got great friends abroad, it wasn't being at home with people that had known you a long time. So I decided to come back, which everybody was very happy and understood. And there was opportunities for me to work for them as a consultant from the UK. And then my sister just phoned me and went, I've just had a client in. She was a hairdresser. She went, their marketing manager has literally just handed their notes in. They haven't even advertised the job yet. But this lady says, if you get down there and put your CV in, I think you'll be in with a chance.
Whoa.
So I went for my interview, which was about 4 hours, the most in-depth marketing interview I've ever been for. I did so many tests that I didn't even know were possible that you could do that many tests. I didn't match the criteria for the baseline on the tests either, because they based it on the person who was previously there.
Right.
Said they'd come back to me 2 hours later, offered me the job.
Recurring theme.
I was like, awesome. But I was
Wow.
only there literally about 8 months.
Right.
I changed everything that they did for marketing, which I believe they carried on. I recruited somebody else to take over.
Wow.
Um,
So you are very much all about change, aren't you? It's kind of, even then, was this when you were realising it, but you hadn't necessarily fully...
At this stage, I hadn't really appreciated what I was about in life at all.
You were just doing what came naturally.
Absolutely. I would see things, I would feel it, I would know what needed to be done. I didn't question myself because I knew, what they were asking they wanted for the business. I knew that I needed to do in a particular way.
Yeah.
And the way it was being done, it wasn't that it was wrong, but it wasn't getting them what they wanted.
Yeah.
So if they want what they want, then I'm going to make that happen. And I did a big show over in America. And while I was there, I did a walk around Washington DC at night, and it was the most incredible experience. But again, something reminded me that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I came away, I went on holiday for 2 weeks to visit my friend in Cyprus. I sat on a sun lounger and I went, that's it. I'm supposed to be helping people. And what I'm doing isn't actually helping people, it's making people money.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference.
Yeah.
So I can make people money because I'm commercial.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to do was help people, and that's where it all shifted and all changed.
Gosh, okay, so come back from Cyprus then, and then what do you then do? Just straight away hand in your notice, or?
Yeah, I did. I'd never had Reiki before in my life. My friend had talked to me about it while I was on my holiday. Met obviously the lady who was doing my Reiki, and she taught Reiki, and I was like, I think I'd quite like to do that. And she got a training course coming up within about 4 weeks. I was like, book me on.
Wow. So this is all just lining up, really, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, and it just kept lining up. So on the training course, she said I was like a duck to water. Like, I'd never done anything like that with my hands in my life before. She talked about anatomy and physiology, and I was like, this is so interesting. I was like, I hated biology at school.
Yeah.
But this was fascinating. I took some books away from hers to learn, and like on loan. I was reading like a sponge. I really, really wanted to train in NLP. And just so happened that I was working with a chap in a marketing capacity, and he went, you talked about NLP before, haven't you? And I went, yeah. He goes, well, I've got this client and she's running a training course in London. And I was like, okay. And I looked at so many courses and I couldn't find dates that would work at all. Her dates just worked and I could do them.
Wow.
So I went down to London for a whole week and did the intensive training and the coaching training as well. It was just over a week actually. I met some incredible people that I'm still friends with now. And the trainer, I'm still connected to her as well.
Wow.
And she's actually done some work with me in my other capacity, like recently as well. So we keep in touch. So it was massively groundbreaking for me. So yeah, in a year I'd done mind, body, and sort of spirit in a way.
But at this point, so are you really aware of being on a path? Because that's obviously what you are, now looking back, you're clearly on. But Or did it just feel like things were just sort of, falling into place? And
It really did feel like that because it was so intense. I was having so many different experiences.
And opportunities literally just popping up.
Yeah, definitely. And all the time I was trying to develop Be Life Happy as a brand, because I had a business plan behind that, commercial plan as well. I was going to launch this holistic wellbeing business that would help other therapists, because one of the things I noticed on the training courses was that everybody had such a passion but they didn't know how to start their business. I went through another transition where I still loved working with businesses, and I was approached in Cyprus to work with one. They were in finance, it was B2B. Great opportunities, did some nice little campaigns for them, did opening, not opening, they had a 5-year anniversary, so I did a big party and PR and all that kind of jazz. But at the same time I was fundraising for mental health, and I did a Great Wall of China that year. My heart was telling me that I wanted to help people more, so the therapy side of things was important. But what else was important was that I really wanted to meet somebody and not do this life on my own.
Yeah.
So I made a really big decision and decided to come back to the UK. So because I lived in Cyprus, came back to the UK to retrain, and then went back to Cyprus again.
Okay.
So I did most of Be Life Happy, and I wrote most of my book over in Cyprus.
Right.
Then the fun bit started. My best friend said, "How about you stop marketing other people's businesses and market your own?" I went, "Genius."
Genius.
And I've always said to her, she did, because I had my book professionally edited. It didn't get published, so I went self-publishing route in the end. Got that out, and it was Be Life Happy Wellbeing. That was the transition from the Be Life Happy website.
Yeah.
It was going into Be Life Happy Wellbeing, so I was coaching, Reiki sessions, massage.
Yeah.
Got to learn a lot about people, clients, delivery.
Yeah.
But also the energetic side of me developing by doing the work. I kept my professionalism because that was really important, and the kind of clients I had, you could see that they really enjoyed all of that.
Yeah.
So pretty much for 4 years, I said I was a fully booked business.
Yeah.
And I loved it, absolutely loved it. I did talks, I really put myself out there, and I think that was probably like a really good part of my journey that had to happen.
I know you have a little life in you yet. I know you have a lot of strength left. I know you have a little life in you yet.
I did a big show over in America, and while I was there, I did a walk around Washington DC at night, and it was the most incredible experience. But again, something reminded me that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I came away, I went on holiday for 2 weeks to visit my friend in Cyprus. I sat on a sun lounger and I went, that's it. I'm supposed to be helping people. And what I'm doing isn't actually helping people, it's making people money.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference.
Yeah.
So I can make people money because I'm commercial.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to do was help people, and that's where it all shifted and all changed.
Gosh, okay, so come back from Cyprus then, and then what do you then do? Just straight away hand in your notice, or?
Yeah, I did. I'd never had Reiki before in my life. My friend had talked to me about it while I was on my holiday. I told her I'd had this strange experience with my hand. Now, me and my friend, we used to sit there and play with I Ching and like runes and, that kind of stuff. But no cards or anything, just, the basics. And then, so she'd said to me, well, have you ever heard of Reiki? And I went, no, what's that? So she explained, I was like, that sounds interesting.
Handed your notice in.
And had my Reiki session.
Before Christmas still, or after?
No, in January.
In January.
Yeah, in the January. because that Christmas was my first Christmas without my dad.
Yeah.
And I remember I sat on the sofa for literally a week. I mean, I did see people, but I retreated. It was a really big change for me because I'd had every Christmas of my life with my dad.
Yeah.
So it was a real big change not to have one with him. And his birthday was actually the 23rd of December as well.
Wow.
Then met obviously the lady who was doing my Reiki, and she taught Reiki, and I was like, I think I'd quite like to do that. And she got a training course coming up within about 4 weeks. I was like, put me on.
Wow. So this is all just lining up, really, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and it just kept lining up. So on the training course, she said I was like a duck to water. Like, I'd never done anything like that with my hands in my life before. She talked about anatomy and physiology, and I was like, this is so interesting. I was like, I hated biology at school,
Yeah.
but this was fascinating. I took some books away from hers to learn, and like on loan, I was reading like a sponge. I really wanted to train in NLP, and just so happened that I was working with a chap in a marketing capacity, and he went, you talked about NLP before, haven't you? And I went, yeah. He goes, well, I've got this client and she's running a training course in London. And I was like, okay. And I looked at so many courses and I couldn't find dates that would work at all. Her dates just worked and I could do them.
Wow.
So I went down to London for a whole week and did the intensive training and the coaching training as well. It was just over a week actually. I met some incredible people that I'm still friends with now. And the trainer, I'm still connected to her as well.
Wow.
And she's actually done some work with me in my other capacity, like recently as well. So we keep in touch. So it was massively groundbreaking for me. So yeah, in a year I'd done mind, body and sort of spirit in a way.
But at this point, so are you really aware of being on a path? Because that's obviously what you're, now looking back, you're clearly on, or did it just feel like things were just sort of, falling into place?
It really did feel like that because it was so intense. I was having so many different experiences.
And opportunities literally just popping up.
Yeah, definitely. And all the time I was trying to develop Be Life Happy as a brand, because I had a business plan behind that, commercial plan as well. I was going to launch this holistic wellbeing business that would help other therapists, because one of the things I noticed on the training courses was that everybody had such a passion but they didn't know how to start their business. I went through another transition where I still loved working with businesses, and I was approached in Cyprus to work with one. They were in finance, it was B2B. Great opportunities, did some nice little campaigns for them, did opening, not opening, they had a 5-year anniversary, so I did a big party and PR and, all that kind of jazz. But at the same time I was fundraising for mental health.
Yeah.
And I did a Great Wall of China that year. My heart was telling me that I wanted to help people more, so the therapy side of things was important. But what else was important was that I really wanted to meet somebody and not do this life on my own.
Yeah.
So I made a really big decision and decided to come back to the UK. So because I lived in Cyprus, came back to the UK to retrain, and then went back to Cyprus again.
Okay.
So I did most of Be Life Happy, and I wrote most of my book over in Cyprus.
Right.
Then the fun bit started. My best friend said, how about you stop marketing other people's businesses and market your own? I went, genius.
Genius.
And I've always said to her, she did, because I had my book professionally edited. It didn't get published, so I went self-publishing route in the end. Got that out, and it was Be Life Happy Wellbeing. That was the transition from the Be Life Happy website.
Yeah.
It was going into Be Life Happy Wellbeing, so I was coaching, Reiki sessions, massage.
Yeah.
Got to learn a lot about people, clients, delivery,
Yeah.
but also the energetic side of me developing by doing the work. I kept my professionalism because that was really important, and the kind of clients I had, you could see that they really enjoyed all of that.
Yeah.
So pretty much for 4 years, I said I was a fully booked business,
Yeah.
and I loved it, absolutely loved it. I did talks, I really put myself out there, and I think that was
Yeah.
probably like a really good part of my journey that had to happen.
Now, how would you describe it sort of day to day then, in terms of what it is and what it represents now?
It keeps evolving.
It really does.
It really does keep evolving. So I went on to start teaching Reiki, which I absolutely loved and still do teach, because I do love it, and I offer that professionalism for people that do want to practice professionally. But I teach people who just want to do it for themselves as well. But I am ever changing, and so I went on and did my Akashic record reading, practitioner foundation level, then practitioner, and then I'm in the middle of doing an advanced training as well. It's work that I would say I've probably been doing a lot, but I hadn't had the formal training to understand how I was working.
Right.
So the Akashic record work brings in a lot of NLP, although a lot of people may disagree with that, but I always say that you can wrap things up in as many different words as you like, but there's similarities between a lot of the modalities out there in energetics and mindset work for sure. Because at the end of the day, everything's all energy, so it's all the same. But there's different tools and techniques that you can use in NLP. Like one of them's timeline therapy. And I love timeline therapy. I've saw some great results with clients. Would I still use it now? Yes, for certain clients, but in the main, I work with Akashic record readings, and the clearing and healing process is, say, about 45 minutes.
Right.
And the impact and effectiveness, because of the levels of which the healing's taking place, far outweigh timeline therapy.
Wow.
So timeline therapy is a fast process, but it only works at a certain level, whereas the others, Akashic work is at soul level. It's much more diverse and affects all multiple layers. So for me as a practitioner, I tend to work more now with the Akashic work, and obviously I've always had the ability to channel, to see, to hear, to feel. We've discussed, haven't we, that I hid it because I didn't feel like I was being professional, or I was worried that people would discredit me for all the hard work I'd done over those years. They'd be like, oh, she's some mystic Meg kind of thing, and I really just didn't want that, and maybe I was just around the wrong people. Because I found incredible people after my sister passed away. So she was 46, I was 43, so it's just coming up 4 years ago, and it was obviously horrific, but it was a beautiful process that we had. We had 7 months from a diagnosis to her dying, and I learned a lot from that. My dad's death was sudden and horrific, and I really, really felt like the rug had been pulled from under my feet. But with my sister, I felt so much love and peace. It was unbelievable, and I wanted to feel that, so I kept myself acknowledging what was happening so that I could feel that peace eventually.
Gosh.
And I think that in itself was a massive healing but growth journey for me.
Yeah.
From when my dad died to when she died, and then obviously now I'm 4 years on, and I've been able to explore everything that I've done. After my dad died, I was asked to help other people. After my sister died, I was asked to help other people who help other people.
Ah, okay.
So I felt like I'd been given a promotion.
Wow.
Yeah, and it really showed in the clients that I was working with. I realised that, at least 90%, 85-90% were business owners, they were entrepreneurs. I was having multimillionaires come and sit with me who wanted coaching
Wow.
and clearing work, and I was just like, why are they finding me?
Yeah, oh, I was going to ask that.
Yeah, and it was all through Google. And
word of mouth, I'm
yeah,
guessing.
well, mainly Google though. They were just fine. They wanted somebody different. They wanted somebody who understood business because of where their head was at.
Yeah.
But they wanted somebody who could help them get through what they were experiencing personally.
Right.
And that's where it all started to come together.
Yeah.
And I won't lie, I struggled a bit because I was like, I'm a marketing person, I'm an energetic, healer.
You're sort of trying to wear a few hats.
It's like, how did you make this all work? And I mean, if anything, just the clients I've had really over the last few years has shown that they're not unique. They're not a small group of people. There are lots of people like this, but they are willing to explore beyond the traditional.
Right.
And often, I've worked with people in Germany, Austria, Paris, again, all through word of mouth. Most of my work, Akashic work, is very much referral work.
Right.
Which is beautiful. But one of them said that they had been to numerous traditional therapists over many years, but still could not work with the problem that they had.
Right.
But through the Akashic work, because we go back through past lifetimes and are able to find the real root cause, not this lifetime cause, but the root cause, because the soul records show us what that is, they were able to make sense of what was happening in their life now. So instead of having to just deal with it, they could make sense of it. I've found now that my absolute flow is, as coming back to the very beginning, is sitting with a business owner who has a vision.
Yeah.
They know what they want, they just can't get there for whatever reason, and they come with an open mind and an open heart, and they are willing to explore everything that's going to come from it.
Wow.
And it's just beautiful. And like I say, to mix in like the strategy to show that, to bring all of that together so they've got something solid to work on to move forward.
Yeah.
But also to be open to that energetic guidance.
Yeah.
I've worked with people, I've shown them potential clients and the offices that they're in, because they've shown me it all, but these people can't have those clients because they haven't worked on stuff on themselves yet.
Right.
So they show me the gaps.
Right.
And that's not marketing and that's not strategy. No. But having that help a business is really, really, and I think because I understand business, they've chosen me to be that role and channel in that business field, really.
What do you think, in terms of you giving this advice to these multimillionaires, or this sort of mentoring advice, what is it about your personal characteristics? Ignoring your talents, which we've talked about, but your personal characteristics that...
I think I do find it very easy to connect with these people, and I didn't realise I would.
Right.
But I think because of how I am energetically, I am very open and make people feel incredibly comfortable.
Right.
Integrity is just something that is very much part of me. I have, in a conversation and in a space, I become very focused, and I'm all about what that conversation or session is about. And as soon as that's finished, I close it up, it's zipped up, and we're done.
Brilliant.
And it's done. So energetically, they will feel that as well. I really do care, but I do have boundaries, and I'm able to. People a lot of time talk about holding space.
Yeah.
And holding space can be restrictive. But there is an element of that
or guarding space.
You create a space where somebody can open themselves up to explore And the kind of work that we're doing is obviously higher self, higher dimensional self work, that they get to see and feel parts of them that they've probably never ever felt before.
Gosh.
And that's, to me, is such an honour and a privilege to be part of that. So for me, it's a very two-way experience with everybody. And I think, again, I often have good relationships and friendships with people after we've worked together, because it is quite, you know,
Quite intimate in some way. Yeah.
But it is and it isn't, because again of the boundaries. They know that as soon as it's finished, it's it, done.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they've got the support there if they want it. But often people can just be let go and allowed. I don't hold on to people.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the flip side of that then? And I almost don't, I hate saying this word, but like the sort of negative characteristics, or is there anything about you that it's challenging, and everything we've described? I mean, you've probably talked about some challenges, but
No, definitely. No, I think it is a difficult question, but it's a good question, because because you have to, through this work, truth and transparency is paramount, because if I commit to being a clear and open channel, is what I've always said to myself from day dot of doing Reiki. And with that, every time you work energetically, either on yourself or with others, you reveal another part of yourself.
right.
And you then start to, you know, you can ignore them or you can address it.
What's been the absolute best part of this so far?
Oh, God.
I mean, where would you even start to answer that?
I don't know if it's come yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think from what I've seen over the last few years of how I've evolved in myself and my work, and the level of impact that I'm able to have, because some of the businesses I'm working with, their visions and their impact are great and positive.
Yeah.
So even if I'm in the background, I know that work is having a difference in the world.
Yeah.
So
you feel like you're literally almost in some ways on the start of this?
yeah, on the start of it, with like, what, how many years? I can't get so old.
Stop it.
25 maybe years.
Or however long you want to
Yeah.
carry on for.
But no, I mean the 25 years behind me that have got me to this point. And I think, you know, there's obviously the emotional, personal journeys that I've been on, the career and professional interactions, and becoming a mum.
Yeah.
You know, and how that's, you know, I have a toddler, so, you know, I've got all of that to grow through, all those different phases. And so I think in a way we'll both grow together very much over at least the next decade.
Final two questions. Bit of advice you'd give your younger self. And you can pick any version of your younger self here, but what advice would you want to give younger Emma?
So tough. So tough. It would probably just have to really focus. The first thing that's coming to mind is around self-belief. Because I think even as a child I had such sensitivities, and maybe I wasn't, you know, I had friends, but people always said I thought too much, you know, I was too much of a deep thinker. And I saw that as being a problem. And actually it isn't.
Well, I think it was back then, wasn't it? We're
Yeah.
talking in the 80s here, or
Yeah.
early 90s. It's a bit sort of...
So having that level of awareness people perhaps didn't want. But, you know, that level of deep thought has become my greatest strength. So, yeah, I would say have self-belief, and that would probably be my biggest thing.
Wow. Okay, and final question is one bit of life advice to throw out there into the world for anybody.
Okay. Be Life Happy is about give, play, love, learn. And those 4 words are so important, because the balance of giving and receiving, playfulness, remembering to have fun,
Yeah,
oh my
gosh.
goodness, dancing, just around your kitchen and
Yeah.
singing, and not being afraid that you're not the best singer in the world, but it's okay, or just playing Twister or
Yeah.
this, but allowing yourself to just be playful again. Love, to recognise that you are worthy of love, but that love comes from within yourself first.
Right, yeah.
And then the love is reciprocated, because if you don't love yourself, you'll find yourself in relationships that aren't as loving as you want them to be.
Right.
So it's learn to love yourself and to take care of yourself. That self-care is essential for our wellness. And the final one, learning, is about learn to expand your awareness of what's around you by picking up a book or looking up at the sky, or observing people, to reflecting on yourself and being okay to learn about who you are. And whilst that is a concept for Be Life Happy, that was all channeled to me, and it was given to me as a gift, and I used it on myself. It made sense. I read so many other books and religions and things, and Be Life Happy just made sense. It was simple,
Yeah.
and it works. So I would honestly say give, play, love, learn, and remembering those, and it's a really good marker to help you live by.
Thanks very much, Emma.
It's a pleasure. Loved it.
If you would like to hear more about this chat, see some behind the scenes pics and some personal profile pics, plus read about how to get started in this industry and or this role, then please go and support us on Patreon. The link is on this podcast page and across all of our socials. Sincere thanks in advance.